Hello gorgeous, I am back today, and today we're talking about your human grid and your soul's grid, or another way of saying this is your human DNA or your soul's DNA. So the first thing I want to talk about is you need to recognize that there are these two very separate but united parts of you. The one part of you is this vehicle, this human body that we're in. And this other part of you is the metaphysical you, the soul you, the spirit you, okay? And these two parts come together in divine union, sort of like this collaboration that they have, that the soul will use the body as a vehicle or sort of like an avatar on this human journey. And a lot of times we have people that get so identified with the body, with the identification, with their ego, with their identity, with their personality, that they actually completely forget about their soul's path, God's grid, their soul DNA, okay? So what to do in this situation? And if you've been following my work, then you know that this is why inner work is so important. It's like the primary thing with inner work. And I know oftentimes we dangle like, oh, if you do your inner work, all of your manifestations are going to come true. Yeah, that is going to happen. It's a side effect of that. But that's not the main point, actually. The main point of you doing inner work is so that more of your soul is the one that's the driver, the one in the driver's seat, the one that's like on grid and on point here. The thing that you need to realize is because we're on earth and we are having this very human experience, the body part of you has a home turf advantage. Because on this earth, we are living out this life as human beings. We have a brain, we have a nervous system, we have this whole system that works. Here we have fight or flight, and we have these rules, right? The laws of the land that we have to abide by. It is very easy to get trapped into that matrix and think that, well, this is it. And when your soul is not in the driver's seat as it should be, and by the way, it always is, you just forget about it, then the home turf advantage, the body will create these scenarios that seem really, really urgent, right? It always seems like, well, I'll go and do my spiritual practice and reconnect with my higher self and do my inner work when this isn't going on, or when I'm not sick, when my kid isn't sick, when my job isn't, so stressful, or when XYZ aligns. But that's the thing, that's the illusion, that the body will always keep pulling at you, that identity, that urgency. What was that thing with, was it Stephen Covey's book where they talked about urgent versus priority? So your soul is your priority. Your soul's journey is your priority. But when you are more identified with your body, everything here on this planet seems really, really urgent. And so before you know it, you've lived, 70, 80, 90 human years and literally did nothing except for put out these little fires, these distortions that the body convinced you, or the ego convinced you that were important, that were priority, but they really weren't, okay? So what inner work helps you do is you start priming the body, disciplining the body to literally be what it's designed to be. Instead of acting like it's you, it becomes a vehicle. So the example that I gave in Sajda today, by the way, we had lesson 1 in Sajda. Actually, by the time you see this, it will be yesterday. But it was this next level, my highest level training I've ever done. It's so good. And the example that I used in there was, it's like if your car suddenly started thinking it was you. And the car's needing gas, oil changes, the things that it faced in traffic, the heat, the cold, all of the things that the car went through, suddenly you started identifying with and thought that that's happening to you. So as you can imagine, you would think that that was a priority because the car would suddenly have like the home turf advantage. Traffic would be a big problem, getting the, tires rotated, and all, you'd be so engrossed in like the car's daily like troubles and like the car's daily things that it goes through, that you would literally forget that you were the one driving the car, right? Like, let that kind of like sink in for a second. That's what's happened to us. So what inner work helps you do and going through these stages is that it helps you realize that you are not the car, you are not the vehicle, you are not the body, you are not the ego. You are the driver, you are the soul, and you are here on mission, right? So for example, if we identified with the car and we were like dealing with all of our car issues, we'd actually forget that we were on this journey and that we actually had a destination and that we had to like go on this path. But we would just be like dealing with all of the car things. And that's what's happened literally to the human race right now, is that we've so gotten stuck in this human matrix because, again, the body, the ego has the home turf advantage, and we're literally here from the other dimensions, from the metaphysical. We forget that we are the ones in control. And so again, I like to give you guys solutions every time I throw all of this stuff at you. And so the solution is that you need to start doing your inner work so that you regain your emotional intelligence and your emotional control, and that you start telling the vehicle, the body, what to do. This is when we go to sleep. This is when we wake up. This is the human food that we eat. This is how we not self-sabotage. This is how we not make ourselves sick. These are the people we stay away from. These are the people that are aligned with our soul path. And this is what we're here to do. So you treat the body as it is supposed to be treated, a beautiful vehicle that you have to take care of. Okay? Not a vehicle that distracts you. Not a vehicle that takes you in all of these like different side roads, and then you never make it to your destination. So this is why going through the basic babe stage, self-aware Barbie stage, $1 million babe stage it's an important part of the journey. It's the main part of the journey. A lot of times when people come to this work, especially right now that I'm teaching more of my high-end divinity stuff, we're getting a lot of people saying, okay, how do I just skip to this step? You can't, because the point of you being here is to go through those steps. If you could just skip to that step, you wouldn't have incarnated here. There would be no point, right? Can you see that? Like you going through those steps is the entire point of being here. Now, we've had people that try to skip steps. We've had people in basic babe or basic boy stages that try to skip steps. Okay, those are the people that are in institutions with schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, like all of these issues, because their nervous system, their human body, their vehicle literally could not take on the load, or what the can of worms that they opened with that level of embodiment. Like your nervous system needs to be able to hold that, right? Like that's why you need to be able to do the inner work, summon that kind of energy. It's like if I went to the gym for the first time and thought I was going to weight lift 150 pounds, like that's not going to happen. By the way, that's a lot more than I even weigh, so that's not going to happen, but you know what I mean, right? Like that's not going to happen. So you need to be able to do that inner work, go through those steps, and like literally expand your capacity, your energetic, your hormonal, your physical capacity to be able to do those higher level inner works. The other thing I want to say is that your human body has DNA, it has experiences, it has ancestors, it has a lineage. And then your soul has its own DNA, it has its like own sort of things that are imprinted on it, its own codes, it has its own ancestors, soul family, it has its own lineage. And so when these two things come together, the human part of you, like the body part of you, and then the soul part, they connect together, and then what is expressed through there is like you having a human experience. So both of these things intersect and connect, okay? So when when you have incarnations and you go through these different experiences, sometimes when souls are very identified with the body, something that they could have left with the body gets imprinted onto the soul. And now this becomes their karma, that they now have to spend extra time in a different incarnation or this incarnation, like reworking through. Okay, also as your soul comes in, it brings karma and imprints with it. So part of our inner work in the high-end divinity stages is to be able to work with both of these together. And luckily, when by the time you make it in the high-end divinity, you've already been doing the human part of the inner work, right? You've been doing the shadow work, you've been doing the wounded child work, you've been doing the masculine feminine energy work, you've been doing the mirror work. Like, you've been taking care of a lot of the human part of it. Once you get into high-end divinity, now you're going to start taking care of like the soul inner work. But you can't, like, I know I keep repeating this, but a lot of basic babe people want to just skip to the high-end divinity stuff. You can't. Your soul literally, like, you can't even access it once you're not taking care of the body. That would be like if you were driving your car and the car was on fire and you're trying to like have a picnic or like show your kids like the scenic route outside. Like, no, the fire needs to be put out first. So whatever is happening in your body, the emotions that are trapped in it, the wounding that you have, all of that stuff that's encoded in the body needs to be taken care of first. Okay, the vehicle needs to be fine. The vehicle literally can't be on fire and you're trying to do your soul level inner work. I see a lot of people trying to do that. Okay, so go back and actually take care of the physical body first. I keep hearing this phrase of the wounded healer. Okay, there is no such thing. There's people spiritually bypassing their own inner work and trying to help other people, but they need to like take it back a little bit. I know this can be triggering to hear, but just what the wounded healer actually means is someone that skipped their own inner work and like is trying to like help other people. Okay, you need to go back and do your own inner work first, because a drowning person can have a good intention to save someone, but they're actually at a bigger, they're more of a risk and a threat, because when someone's drowning, I don't know if you guys know this, but if you come in contact with a drowning person, they will try to use anything and everything to save themselves. It's human nature. The human body, and actually in all species, this is true of all species, everything in nature wants to survive. It fights for its survival. Okay, so when you are a wounded healer or a wounded light worker or whatever phrase that you use for yourself, that just means you need to do your own inner work first. And obviously I'm not talking about perfection. Okay, this isn't about perfection. Like, I always talk about how I'm always doing my inner work and teaching, but what I'm teaching I've already embodied. So the inner work that I'm doing is different inner work. It's my own personal inner work, and that stuff I'm not teaching yet because I'm still not worked through that yet. So I would recommend saving yourself first, putting out those fires first, getting your body, your nervous system, all of that primed first, and then helping other people. Okay, this doesn't mean that you have to be perfect before you help people, but in the thing that you're teaching, be embodied in that thing, right? So let me give you an example of it. For example, if I had already healed through my autoimmune stuff, but if I still had, let's say, relationship stuff that I was working from, well, I have now experience and knowledge to be able to help people hold space for them in healing the autoimmune stuff. But like, if my relationships are in shambles, I'm not really going to be a good mentor and a coach in that area just quite yet. So that's just kind of a silly example of why I think that sometimes we create these kind of phrases or identifications with like the wounded healer and this and this. if you are a healer, light worker, person person here that's supposed to be helping other people, part of your helping other people is you helping yourself. That must come first. Heal yourself, get yourself in a good place in the genre that you are here to help people with, and then give from your overflow. So I hope this was helpful for you. I kind of wanted to clarify this because sometimes, I get questions or people ask me about how to work within these people. Don't spiritually bypass your own journey just in the name of helping other people. Your embodiment helps way more people than anything that comes out of your mouth. Trust me, they can see it, they can feel it. It's like oozing out of your pores. So once you can when you're good, when the vehicle is good, then the soul will shine through, and that is you healing. That is literally you being a light worker, like you're shining your light. But in order to shine that light, you have to clear out all of the gunk, all of the conditioning, all of the stuff imprinted on this human body. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next one. Like and subscribe and comment. By the way, I've been really enjoying reading your comments. Let me know if this resonates with you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.